Welcome to Good Faith Reads. I'm your host, Cally Chisholm, Creative Coordinator at Good Faith Media. Good Faith Reads is a short podcast released twice a month in which we focus on one of our book authors at Good Faith Media. We've published more than 150 titles under our Nurturing Faith book imprint, and we invite you to check them out at goodfaithmedia.org/bookstore. Today, I'm talking with Maralene and Miles Wesner, authors of Think or Else. Welcome back to Good Faith Reads. What is this book about, and how did you come up with the title?
Well, I got so tired of hearing people say, I never thought of that. And then all my life I've been accused of thinking too much. Also, religion and education are my areas of expertise, and I feel that they've both failed by teaching children and adults both what to think instead of how to think, and that's disastrous. So I wanted to really emphasize thinking.
What inspired you to write the book?
Well, of all the books that we have, this one is mainly mine. And I'm going to let Miles tell you what he thinks is his contribution, and then I'll tell you mine.
Okay, Marilyn and I usually talk and write as we travel. We come across a topic, and I'll say, we need a blog on that, and she goes to work. I'm usually a sounding board for her as we develop an idea. Many times I suggest a better word to explain the idea. After we've thoroughly discussed an idea and she's written it, I get an opportunity to interpret her hen scratching and put it down in a computer. She'll explain now why she wrote the book.
I developed blogs and brief articles over the years to use as illustrations in my college classes and at church groups. And I did it, I think, for the same reason that Jesus turned to parables. You know, in the Bible, after a while, it says, the scripture says, he didn't speak except in parables. And I think he realized that people only understand stories and concrete analogies. And for example, I'm going to share a brief one that I used in my psychology class to explain hereditary and environment. And this is just one of the blogs in the book. It's as if when we buy a car, it comes equipped with certain features, like certain kind of engine, certain kind of music system, and that's heredity. Then when we use it, the weather, whether it's ice or sun, and the roads, whether it's muddy roads or highways, affect its performance, and that's environment. But finally, it's the driver himself who has the greatest influence on how it operates and where it goes, and that's choice and free will. Now, my students remember that instead of complicated theories and definitions.
You write that Christianity must be a thinking religion. Could you expand on that concept?
Oh, I really could. That's my main bailiwick. I'm going to start with one little incident that's a very true happening. In our church, we had a format of Miles preaching a sermon in the morning, and then we would give a copy of it to everyone that night, and I would teach it as a class. One night, our mission director dropped in. He came to every church about once a year, and anyway, he came in and sat in the back. He didn't say a word during the whole class, but when it was over, he wiped his face and said, "Gee, I'm not used to coming to church and having to think." And that gave me my motivation, I guess. But Jesus often said, "What think you? What think you?" And I believe we've really neglected that. And I think that's why today we have so many conspiracy theories and so many scam artists and so much propaganda is because people don't know how to think.
We'll be right back with more of Good Faith Reads.
I'm Mitch Randall, CEO of Good Faith Media, and we're proud to announce a Better Way initiative. A better way. People of faith are too often cast as only narrow-minded and fundamentalist. This image is false, so let's not surrender the truth. A better way. This initiative from Good Faith Media will focus people of faith on giving voice to justice, to inclusion, to love. These values define the faith communities so many of us know. A Better Way initiative from Good Faith Media. Go to goodfaithmedia.org and click on Initiatives. There's more to tell.
Welcome back to Good Faith Reads. Today we're joined remotely by Maralene and Miles Wesner, authors of the Good Faith Media book Think or Else. This book is split up into 4 parts. Could you explain how the book is organized, and how did you decide what topics to include?
Well, during the pandemic, when we had so much time and was kind of holed up in our house, I began to collect all of my little thinks and blogs. And, they kind of categorized themselves. First, I had taught psychology and sociology for many years. So, of course, I had a lot of them on personal problems and relationship issues. So those 2 became 2 of the categories. And then we both worked in church, so religion became a category. And then the others, we just kind of grouped them in a general philosophy of life category. And so it really wasn't hard to do. It pretty well did itself.
An important note to all of our listeners. We at Good Faith Media are always accepting book proposals. Our authors engage with an experienced team of editors, designers, and marketers to produce and sell books on a variety of topics. If you have a book proposal you'd like to run by us, head on over to goodfaithmedia.org/bookstore for more information. That's goodfaithmedia.org/bookstore. Would one of you read for us a short passage from the book?
Gee, that's hard. Every time I read one, I think, we need that one. But I've chosen a topic because of its title. It's called Uh-Oh and Aha. And it talks about how we make progress, how we move forward as individuals and as civilizations. How do we make progress? How does civilization make progress? Do we steadily grow on a day-to-day basis? Do we have regular goals laid out that we meet year after year? Do we take a certain number of steps or learn a certain number of facts each day or each week? No, that's not how progress is made. Instead, both individuals and cultures tend to stagnate at a comfort level. And as long as things are okay, we quietly exist. Then all at once, something traumatic happens. We make a mistake. We get into trouble. There's chaos. There's dissonance. We're hurting. So we stop and say, uh-oh, and that's the first point of change. I think right now our democracy has experienced such a moment. Then we analyze the situation to see what went wrong. We try to find out what we need to do to get comfortable again. After questioning and analyzing, we often discover new ideas or learn new principles or create new solutions. We see things from a new perspective. And when we finally understand, we say, aha, that's the second point of change. As we incorporate these new insights into our life, that's the third point of change. That's how we grow and make progress. Unfortunately, it's usually our problems and tragedies that motivate us. The psalmist said it well. It's good for me that I was humbled so that I might learn your statutes. Now I'd like to just mention my hope for this book, and I have a lot of hope for this book. It is that a reader will read until he finds one, or he or she finds one that he agrees with, and he says, yes, that's exactly what I've always thought. But then I hope he keeps reading until he finds one that upsets him and makes him angry and makes him want to argue. And then I know that I've made him think. So that's my hope for this book.
That's wonderful. Our guests today on Good Faith Reads have been Maralene and Miles Wesner, authors of Think or Else. The book, along with more than 150 other titles, are available as both a print book and ebook at goodfaithmedia.org/bookstore.